Springfield's only pure classic rock station, 104.7 The Cave. I am Flash, and I have the great pleasure of being able to talk to 1/3 of the New Day, Big E, today. First off, I'm so excited to talk to you. This is going to be like the longest setup for a question ever because I've got to sing your praises first, obviously.
Of course.
Of course. You've been an amazing wrestler since you debuted. I mean, you held the tag team titles in FCW. You were NXT champ, WWE Intercontinental champion, longest reigning Raw tag team champs, The New Day. You've held the SmackDown tag team titles. But most of your evolution that comes through to like your average spectator is through your personality. Alongside with Woods and Kofi, you guys have developed this very like theater of the absurd gimmick is how I kind of like to think of it. And you're hilarious.
Yeah.
Hilarious.
Well,
But people really hadn't been able to see that from you before. So I'm really curious, what was the pitch meeting like for the New Day?
Man, it's a long story, but I'm trying to give you the abridged version. Essentially, we were all at points in our career where we really weren't doing much. I think when we first pitched the idea, I had just dropped the IC title to Wade Barrett.
Yeah.
Woods wasn't doing much. Kofi was kind of floundering as well. And we all kind of saw the writing on the wall with where our careers were headed and just felt like we needed to take things on our own hands. And we knew we weren't just going to be given anything out of nowhere. So it started with Woods pitching a faction. Then I think the same day he pitched it, he got with me and asked if I was interested, and I definitely was. I'd known him in FCW, and I always thought he was very creative and very talented and the guy who really never had an opportunity to show how great he was in the ring and outside. And then after a few weeks of talking, we eventually went to Kofi and asked him if he would be interested as well. But three of us really just kind of we saw it as a faction. It's interesting that we've become a tag team, a weird three-man tag team, but we always saw it as an ever-growing faction, and we had plans to like add other people over time. But it was definitely a rough start at first, but things have gone well, I would say.
Yeah, I mean, I'd say, like, to say the least, it's gone really well. Who are you thinking of adding to the faction?
Actually, Sandow was a thought. We mentioned adding Sandow. We mentioned, we even talked about adding maybe R-Truth. We thought something that could be interesting is possibly courting members, and then if a member didn't want to join, then we turn on him. So there's some intrigue with whether a guy joins or whether we attack him. We thought that could be an interesting aspect because we thought our group was going to be a very serious, hard-nosed group. It's the way we pitched it originally, and obviously it's anything but now.
That's not what happened. I mean, I think that would have been great, but I'm happy that it ended up the way that it did. Speaking earlier of the SmackDown tag team titles that I mentioned earlier, you guys had an amazing series of matches last year against the Usos, and many of them match of the year contenders for sure. You guys stole the show like over and over again. And as you moved through those matches, did you ever start to feel like the pressure to continue serving it up, or do you just, in general, pay no mind to the praises of the internet?
Oh, no, I feel like there's a lot of pressure. Mostly, so the most pressure I had was when I think it was Battleground, I was on the floor when Kofi and Woods were in the match, and I'm watching them have this killer match, just tearing it up, and I'm like, I don't know what I'm going to do next to be able to top this. So there was definitely a lot of pressure because even though we've done a lot in our careers and have been fortunate enough to be put in a good position, we always kind of work with the chip on our shoulder and never want to feel like we made it.
Right.
So we always want to best our performance from before. So and it's not pressure in the sense of us being like worried or anxious, but kind of, it's an exciting kind of pressure like, man, that was a great match. Now we have to do an even better job. So it kind of stoked the creative fires to keep going out there and keep producing.
What's your strategy when it comes to the anatomy of a match like that?
I don't know if there's a strategy. I think after a while as a performer, you have an understanding of what will make the crowd react in a certain way. And it's really, I don't know if this is a great comparison, but I think of it a bit like a jazz musician. Just having the understanding of a rhythm. There's a certain rhythm and a feel with a great tag match. And as a performer, I think you understand how to feel that rhythm, to ride the rhythm. And that's something that we feel like the Usos and the three of us see our business and see performance and see wrestling in much the same way. I feel like we're always in the same wavelength when it comes to constructing this rhythm. And the way we ride that is very similar. And there are guys who are great, but for some reason you're just never quite in the same wavelength as they are. But
Yeah.
the Usos were immediately, and I think our chemistry outside of the ring as well helped with that. But it was easily, we've had many highlights in our career, but as far as feuds are concerned, I would easily say that's our best feud.
Yeah, those matches were absolutely insane. They were on fire. So it looks to the public, because of what you guys have going on, that like there's no bit that's too crazy for the New Day to get over, right? Like time machines, ice cream, trombone. I personally think that you started the unicorn obsession that's happening and the general public just like doesn't even know it. Pancakes. Have you guys ever brought an idea to creative and they were like, no, that's too much, even for you guys. I'm sorry.
Man, that's a great question. I'm sure there's gotta be. We were in a position where they say yes to a lot.
Uh-huh.
I'd have to think of something that was turned down. No, I can't really think of anything. They let us get away with a lot. We have a very long leash for some reason.
Yeah, they're like, Will, we trust you guys implicitly. That's great.
Exactly.
And about those pancakes, I've been asked this question going into this. Burning question here, probably the most important one. Like, those pancakes are frozen, right? Like, there's not someone whose main job it is to just make pancakes for you every week.
Okay, so we were making them on a weekly basis for a while.
You were?
Yeah, but not us personally, obviously. So there's we have a catering service called Dega Catering, which is the catering service for all of the TV events for WWE. And a good friend of ours, I actually don't know his real first name, but he goes by Cheese.
Cheese.
His last name's Hopper. So Cheese Hopper was our pancake chef, and we actually want to get him on TV as just a guy who stands there and makes pancakes at ringside during matches. So that's still a possibility. But they eventually realized, hey, he has a lot on his plate, and relieved him of his pancake making duties.
Oh.
And started going out to we take the lazy way out now, and we go to like a Walmart and just buy a big pack of frozen pancakes.
Yes. Okay, so I just feel like I've done some really good investigative journalism here, and that I was totally on the right track. But also, we could probably get a petition off the ground here in Springfield to get Cheese on TV if he decided that he wanted to come back and do that. We could probably get that done.
Oh, he'd love it too.
Okay. It's safe to say that you've accomplished a lot at this point. As someone who started in FCW and made it like all the way to the top, who do you think is the next big thing in WWE? Like, who's about to catch fire?
Man, you know who I really like? Well, I can think of two guys who just had a feud together, actually. But Aleister Black in NXT. And I feel like he's big caught fire. People already love him.
Mm-hmm.
But I think he eventually makes it to the main roster. I feel like, I always feel like, just to backtrack a little bit, I always feel like you should fulfill a niche. And one of the things that I'm kind of annoyed with at times in wrestling is that everyone wants to wear black trunks and be brooding and be serious. And that's fine, but sometimes you have too many guys that are all like that. But I feel like the way in which he's brooding, the way in which his character comes across feels so fresh and original, different from anything else. I'm a big fan of his stuff, and he's great in the ring. So not only is the packaging and the presence there, but the in-ring product with him is there as well. And then Velveteen Dream, for a kid who's only 22 and just went through tough enough, and it's like still fairly new to the business, to see like how many, he had a great feud with Aleister. He's really, as far as guys who've nailed their character, and I completely believe them as their character, he's one as well. So I think those two guys obviously have a ton of promise and are killing it in NXT, and will one day, hopefully soon, kill it on the main roster.
Yeah, I completely agree with you. I think those are both great. I remember when Velveteen Dream, whenever he debuted, people were like, man, I don't know about this gimmick. And I was like, just wait, just watch.
Yeah, and that's the thing. Give it some time.
Give it some time.
He's for sure.
Well, before I let you go, I just want to thank you for being such a huge supporter of women's wrestling. Like, you've sung the praises of Sasha in the past. You glowed about Carmella after your mixed match challenge. And it's just really cool to have someone like you in our corner. So just thank you so much for that. And thank you for spending time with me today.
No, I appreciate it. Thanks for having me.